triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I appreciate every last one of you as we get into another broadcast of Battle for Freedom. If you want to interact, go to facebook.com/Battle for Freedom. Leave a message there, and I will make certain that I can try and get your comment in as we go through this broadcast and we share so much more. Today, I want to talk to you about the idea of I pity the fool, a fleet of unbrained drones, a fleet of unbrained drones. I pity the fool. I see Heidi has joined us. Thank you very much for being part of the program. Thank you. And let's have some fun here. You know what? I was going to have some, but I remember what I did to my wife the other day, and I was so eager to make some American Pride Roasters coffee. And the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio, but American Pride Roasters coffee is historically great coffee. It's not historically great coffee, it's hysterically great coffee. And we appreciate them and just the great quality and product that they make available to you. Another one to consider is New Life Holistic is another one of our sponsors. We appreciate them the company. Anthony Malchiotti and all the wisdom that he brings forth in helping a lot of us grow and mature. Really appreciate that from a perspective of health, a perspective of faith, just an overall perspective of life. Build a relationship, a friendship and a relationship with him. Trust me, it will work to your benefit, a mutual benefit that everyone has. New Life Holistic, biofeedback therapy, and just a great friendship. And you can't go wrong. Thanks, Tim and Lisa, for joining and being part of the program. I pity the fool. Again, if I'm going to do this, off in the shades. Let me see if I still have that here somewhere. I'm trying to figure out where did I put this. Of course, if I'm going to say I pity the fool, it has to have a picture of Mr. T in the background. And, I do have one of those pictures of Mr. T. Because if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, you definitely had to know the A-Team. And if you didn't know the A-Team, you lived a depraved or a deprived life of excitement, coolness, and all things Mr. T. Let's see. Here it is. I pity the fool. Hey, Robert, thank you for joining and being part of the program. If you haven't grown up in the 80s, if you've missed out on the A-Team, and I'm talking about during the TV series, definitely checking them out. Mr. T, and he was in Rocky and so many other different things that you can appreciate what he brought to the table. I want to revisit something that we were talking about yesterday that kind of bothered me because of the fact that it's a language of ignorance that I want to revisit. The statement from yesterday where the person made the comment about responding to Dave Ramsey's comment about student loan forgiveness. This one here. If you're a Christian and you're mad about the possibility of student loan debt being canceled, let me remind you that the entirety of your faith is built upon a debt you couldn't pay that someone else stepped in and paid for you. So we're going to revisit that one because of the fact that actually yesterday I had a lot of fun because a lot of the trolls, they attacked me when I basically said, you're taking that out of context. A lot of people, just eager to engage in foolishness, and so we're gonna revisit that in a second. But what I want to do is I want to cover a couple of different, just regular news things. Sorry, I don't have the slides for you to share with you, but here it is. U.S. economy. I love this. U.S. economy has shrank 0.6% between April and June, a slightly smaller drop than first estimated as the country continues to battle high inflation amid fears of recession. It marks a more moderate contraction than the 0.9% decline originally estimated. Still, it confirmed that the economy shrank for a second straight quarter, which means we're in a recession. Again, as we redefine what is, Again, at this particular point, as people are struggling, as food's too high, as gas is too high, anyone who sits here and continues to argue that this is a great economy, unfortunately, not to insult you, but it's got to be real here, is an unbrained drone. I mean, you stopped thinking. You stopped the standards that you held against Donald Trump for so many years. Oh, horrible economies. We had a pandemic, but let's skip that. Had to shut down the economy during the pandemic, but let's skip that. But now we're past it. We're vaccinating people left and right. People are back to work, and things are still too high because of what happened earlier this week, signing checks to write money out to people that we shouldn't be doing. Yes, Robert, the government has redefined recession. And they've redefined so much more, what integrity, what transparency, and so much more has looked like. The people like, oh, well, the government sitting here writing out checks for the banks and everything like that. And these are the people who are getting angry about the Republicans or conservatives or just regular everyday Americans who are bothered by the government constantly spending. And I commented, remember, it was Obama who bailed out the banks. So why are you trying to put this on Republicans? But here it is. Employers just added 2.7 million jobs through June and unemployment's low. Whatever. Here's the problem with that is because I don't think we've even covered the net loss of jobs that were killed when we killed the economy. Aged Kerry, thank you for joining and being part of the program. Oh, here's another one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord. When I saw this one was crazy. Holy moly guacamole. Robert says, what does it say in the Bible about people calling good evil and good evil? I mean, yeah, good evil and evil good. Yeah. Oh, we're so there. We are so there. Could brain chips be used to control crime? Offenders' behavior could be monitored using futuristic implants, but experts warn criminals could claim their device was hacked to evade sentence. Advances in neurotechnology could soon see implants reaching the mainstream. Law enforcement could use implants to monitor or manage potential of reoffenders. This may affect legal processes as offenders could claim that their chips were hacked. Now, this is on the Daily Mail. And as you sit here and you look at this, now, any government, and we even saw it with this government, and pockets around this country, down in New Orleans. Person's facing felony conviction. Judge basically says, get vaccinated and I'll drop the charges. Get vaccinated and you can go on your way. What? How did my vaccination status somehow remediate the criminal behavior that I committed? So we're going to trust the people who couldn't be honest about certain jabs and everything like that to now put chips in us? Yeah. Hey, Josh and Jill, thank you for joining and being part of the program. Let's get Tim up with the first comment to show. And Tim says that is communist psychotropics on steroids. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. and you do not want to be a part of this thing here because you want to talk about being a drone. I don't know if many of you had seen the new. I don't know if many of you have seen the new Matrix, but there is this one scene in the Matrix where because they want to stop Neo and Trinity, they have all the people who are in the Matrix who are jumping out of their buildings, and using them as bombs. They're using them as bombs to basically jump in front of them and stop them and impede them from where they need to get. Don't tell me that they won't use the same exact thing here for people who have chips in their brains that control their activities. But I mean, we literally had judges in America basically saying, get jabbed and we will reduce your sentence and you can go free for now. No, not good. Not good at all. Not good at all. Biden says student debt burdensome to Black and Hispanic people. Yeah, student debt is more burdensome on Black and Hispanic people because they have less family wealth and don't own homes to borrow against. The president insisted on Wednesday that his plan to forgive lump sums of student debt will not impact inflation. I still want to get to this idea of the president talking of, again, Black people don't have any money. They po. They ignorant and they po. And they ain't Black if they didn't vote for me. But Donald Trump is a racist that we have to worry about. If you continue to utter the idea and the insanity that Donald Trump is a racist, again, I'm not a Trump fan. I am not a Trump fan. But it's clear he's not a racist. He's an opportunist. He's definitely not a racist. But if you keep uttering that he's a racist, I think you're an unbrained drone. You're an unbrained drone. Just like the people who keep re-uttering, Florida DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, don't say gay bill. Yep, that's all I need to know. AR-15 stands for assault rifle. Yeah, when the conversation's not going anywhere. It stands for Armalite. Yeah, it's assault rifle. Armalite. Assault rifle. Yeah, our conversation is not going to go anywhere. Thank you very much. I appreciate you because of the fact that someone else is controlling you, and it doesn't matter what I say, what facts I present to you, you already believe what you want to. And this is the reason why I talk about the whole idea of sometimes we just don't engage. Tim says, you love the Donald. Actually, it was funny because there are people who I was having a discussion with yesterday. They basically call me a Trumplican. Because of the fact that, because I did not want to support the idea of the college loan forgiveness stuff. And they called me a Trumplican. I was like, yeah, you really don't know who I am. If you're going to be dumb enough to call me a Trumplican, yeah, we're going to leave that one alone because it just, there's just no purpose in engaging you at this particular point because you just straight ignorant. You are straight ignorant. But let's get into some of the different things that people have said. I've not even put some of these things on the screen here. Let's see. Were there any other things that I want to talk about? As we work our way into this thing in the discussion about student loan, here it is. Democrats' civil war over student loan explodes. Biden is blasted as out of touch and told he is punishing those without a degree by his own party. As new projections say it will cost Americans $500 billion, not $300 billion, $500 billion. Democrats continue to turn against Biden for his plan to cancel between $10,000 and $20,000 in student loan debt, each borrower making less than $125,000. Now, the thing about that that's really key is because do you call these individuals Trumplicans? Do you call these people Trumplicans who are coming out against this? So it's not just Republicans. It's not just conservatives. It's not just, it's people who have common sense to recognize you have to stop doing this. We can't put another $500 billion on our posterity. We cannot force our children and everyone else after their roaches and their mice and everything like that. No, do not put this burden on them to pay off something that they're not responsible for. Hey, Jamie, thank you for joining. We have another part of the Ain't You a Peach crew. You can catch them on the weekends. And actually, Lep, he'll be part of Rock'em Sock'em on Saturdays at, believe it is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check it out. mojo50.com/schedule. And you'll be good. Let's see. Curtis, thank you for joining. I see you're still here. You haven't been banned yet, so hang in there. Hang in there. But here it is. So there is an argument. So how do you answer the question now where there's even fighting in the quote unquote together Democrat Party against what Joe Biden's doing here. Who do you blame now on this situation here? That's exactly right, Ed Curtis. Another wealth transfer of wealth. That's all it is. So as we sit here and we have this discussion here, this isn't, anti-common sense, anti-equality, and no. When your own party is at odds with your own decision, because remember, it was 13 years ago that even Democrats were against Obama passing Obamacare. They're like, yes, everyone needs health care, but right now, I think we need to focus on the economy, focus on getting people jobs. He had to pass it, and Joe Biden is pig-headed because he wants to turn around and he wants to leave a legacy. He wants to leave a legacy over and over and over again of what he did. He has his climate legacy, and now he's got his education legacy. If more than anything else, he's got a lot of debt legacy. Because I'm serious, I think in 2 years, he can potentially before January break in 2 years what Trump did in 4. I didn't think it was possible. I honestly did not think it was possible that Joe Biden could sign off as much as Donald Trump in 2 years of what Trump did in 4. Because Trump, he signed on us another $7 trillion. And I think we've already passed 5 under Biden. I think we passed 4 or 5 under Biden. So when I thought that no president could spend more money, Joe Biden says, hold my beer. Let's see, Robert. He's a little bit vehement here, and so we're going to let him air his grievances online. I'm not understanding how I'm responsible for someone else's decision to get a loan. Is anyone going to pay back to pay my mortgage or truck payment for me? I saw a great meme, and because the question is rhetorical and it makes sense, Robert. But there are a lot of people right now who don't want to make sense. But I did see a great meme yesterday that says that my mortgage identifies as a student loan. I was like, yes. In an age where you can identify and say whatever you want, yes, there you go. Hey, Lep, we now have a full deck of Ain't You a Peach available to you on Mojo 5 Radio. There's a wide variety of other shows available to you on Mojo 5 Radio if you haven't got a chance to do it. Now, I'm going to go off of memory, and forgive me if no. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that. I am just going to spend a few seconds here because of the fact I feel my emotions starting to get a little crazy. And if I don't slow down, me may get to a point where me may say things me don't want to say. So I'm going to do your work for you and go to mojo50.com/schedule so that you can see some of the shows that are available to you on this awesome network of radio content. And I'm just going to just blast this over me so that if you find it difficult to navigate through this, I'm going to make it easier for you so you know exactly how this goes. So here you have the schedule. And see the yellows signifying where we are in the week. Friday, yes, that is exactly it right there. So you can see some of these shows that are available to you. You know what? Let me zoom in because the fact that this gets a little bit on the difficult to navigate side. And let's go here and let's slide this over to the side. You see where Battle4Freedom is right there. For those of you who are looking online, sorry you can't see this, but I'm going to go focus on the weekend. And let's start at early in the morning. You have Dancing with Beaver, you have American Rock Radio, you have Truth Express Radio, you have Dr. Doug Ramsey Show, The Cowboy Logic, At the Mic with Keith Malinak, The Breakdown with Aaron Barker, The Lee Brothers, and American Rock Radio, That's just I'm hitting you on the weekend because these are ones you may not get a chance to see. So if I go the other way and I work myself backwards, oh wait, I don't think I finished that side. Ooh, let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. No, I did not finish that. So so I need to go over here, and I need to go over here, and nope, I did that wrong. Sorry, I don't do this much here with this thing here. Well, see, as you can see, I'm struggling to get it done myself. So you're just gonna have to go to mojo50.com/schedule and basically figure out who is available to join you. But I know you have on Sundays. You can check out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe it's Off Track, the Off Track Syndicate. They're just insane in the membrane, right? Insane in the membrane, insane in the real. Well, this thing isn't navigating the way I want it to, so maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Yeah, Off Track. Yeah, the Off Track Syndicate. Yeah, Truth Express Radio, 5 p.m. This is a wide variety. Just go to mojo50.com and you should be good. Thanks, Deb, for joining and being part of it. And Paula, thank you for being part of the program. We appreciate you. Let's see. So how much will it cost? Joe Biden's Secretary Miguel Cardona dodges questions on how much the student loan relief will be paid for, despite projections saying it will be $500 billion. So no one wants to put a figure on this because of the fact that if I don't give you the numbers of how bad this is going to be, you can't put anything on me. And so what happens is for an administration that's trying to be very transparent, we're seeing the tyranny that was projected on Trump. We're seeing the corruption that was projected on Trump. We're seeing the lying that was projected on Trump. We see the spending and the worst economy that was projected on Trump. See, I finally figured out why it is he's trying to crash the economy. See, so the pandemic came in and it wrecked the economy. I mean, the pandemic in 2020 was almost like a revisit of what happened after, the tragedies that we faced in America where lives were lost. You had the banking industry crashes that turned around and it reset everything. And so, yeah. We're coming out of any way that Donald Trump recovered from the pandemic, it was a testimony of awesome, great job, right? So Biden figured, well, the only way I can really look good is I've got to make things look really bad. So then when I recover from really bad, I'll look really good. So he went out the gate. We're going to crash this economy so I can build back better. A better America. And a lot of you don't realize this is syndrome from The Incredibles. I'm going to create the problem and fix the problem. Oh, you know what? Again, I just got to go to Mr. T. I pity the fool. I pity the fool who can't see what's going on right now. And the manipulations that have been taking place by this administration, the media, and so much more. We need discernment, folks. We really need discernment. And without it, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. What I'm going to do is, in a minute, we're going to go to a break. And then we're going to come back. I'm going to basically start sharing with you some of the dialogue that I've had with people as we get through this insanity. Because I'm not lying to you. We're in a lot of trouble. We are in a lot of trouble. And it's time for us to wake up. We either wake up now or we stay asleep, apathetic, indifferent, detached, and inevitably extinct because of the fact that we did not apply the proper pressures to the wounds that are afflicting society today. Yes, Debbie Burke says we are living in an upside down world. Oh, most definitely, Debbie, most definitely. And Robert Phillips says that's just government in general. This is government in general. And I agree. Let's go to a break. Talk to you. Flip side. In John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, a lot of Christians are going to, or quote unquote Christians, are going to tell you that there are many ways to heaven. Sorry. The only means of getting to heaven is through God's grace, or by God's grace. There's nothing we can do. There are no good works that we can accomplish. There are no great deeds that we can do, because the moment that we say that we can do something good to get ourselves into heaven or just be good people, into getting into God's heaven, where Jesus is the requirement, God's grace is the requirement, you are destined for hell. I'm sorry, there's just no other way to say it. Please, stop following the lies from the people in the world who have nothing to gain except your eternal damnation and misery. Hear the truth. The only means to heaven is through Jesus Christ. No other way. Accept him, please, before it's too late. Thank you. Are you tired of living from paycheck to paycheck? Are there more days at the end of the week and the end of the month than there's money in your bank account? Have you heard of a budget? Have you ever even heard of Dave Ramsey? Well, before we get into there, why don't we consider the 3 steps for financial freedom and remove you from the frustrations that are driving you up the wall right now? Start with prayer. That's the first step. Have a conversation with God, and he can get you on the right track to make sure that you're doing things the right way. The second step would be looking into Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Great stories of people who were in the same position as you were and how I used to be in the past. And they can show you that it does work. His plan does work, but you have to change your mindset and how you look at money. And then the third step is looking into Financial Peace University. This is what you take after reading Total Money Makeover. Trust me, this plan works. And I assure you, you will be living a lot better than you ever could before when you get a budget. Look into it now. Triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. I appreciate every last one of you as we keep up this discussion and we just talk about this whole idea of I pity the fool, fleet of unbrained drones. And, as we sit here and we just deal with this thing, people are ignoring the reality of what happens with government spending. And not just government spending via lending is unending toils for everyone. I mean, it is just completely horrific because people can't do simple math, simple economics. Actually, I gave one of my copies away to a buddy yesterday of Henry Hazlitt's Economics in One Lesson. What we need to get back to is I want to get out more copies so people can read this, share it, and it really will awaken us to the reality of what's happening. People just shuffling money around and trying to make it seem like it's some form of activity. It's not. It's just hand waving, and it's to no good for anyone who's involved. So as we sit here and we talk about this, what was the statement? Robert says, that's just the government in general. We create a problem that didn't exist, then we fix the problem that wasn't there until we created it. Yes, most definitely. We create the problem and then we fix it. Well, there are certain things that you can't fix. Listen, I know. See, the problem that technology has been a friend and an enemy to society in many ways. The fact that I can communicate to you through social media, that, you can watch this video that's streaming live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Vimeo, via Mojo50 TV at mojo50.com, that you can hear this on iHeartRadio, you can hear this on Apple iTunes, Apple Music, or however it works, and Spreaker. That you can hear the technology. It bridges the gap that, for those of us who are in different states, different cities, that we just can't sit next to each other and have this big, huge discussion. But then it bridges gaps of families members who haven't seen each other, people who went to school and haven't seen each other since their last, high school reunion. It bridges gaps, but it also has, in a sad way, also degraded society's ability to function one another. That people have been straight acting the fool on social media because of the fact that they've erected a persona of themselves that doesn't have to line up with their values. Guilty as charged myself at times. And what has happened is people like to troll on Facebook, not have discussions. They want to troll. And one of the ones that I have, because I'll engage with you if you say something to me. I might not like it in the beginning, but if I think that you really want to have a discussion with me, we'll talk. You don't have to be a Republican. You don't have to be a conservative. You don't even have to be pro-Second Amendment. You could be on the other side of the spectrum, and I don't care. I'm willing to have a conversation with you as long as we keep it civil and we keep it cordial. But then there are people who, and there are trolls in my past, distant past and previous past, that they have nothing better to do than to be trolls. Set up fake accounts to basically come out and engage me to try and hurt my feelings on social media. And I tell you that this idea and the concept where you want to best someone in social media, that you want to be the king of the table in the cafeteria. I mean, think about this. People have fought in high school to be the rulers of the cafeteria. The rulers of a cafeteria, which is only for 44, 45 minutes in school. And what happens in 6th period, 7th period, 8th period, after school? That people try to claim the title as king and magnanimous in their wit. Trying to fight with someone on social media. Do not in any way. People want to white knight. Don't white knight on social media. You don't have to. We do not have to defend people on social media. Please, I'm begging you, don't engage in that, because if you do, you get sucked into a battle. And as a friend has said before, you're engaging in psychological/psychotic vampires who will suck everything out of your life. And then you're going to say, where did my time go? How in the world? Where did my day go? Yeah, because you played the fool. You argued with someone, they brought you down to their level and beat you up with experience. Well, I thought I won that argument, but how much time did you really lose in that discussion with someone who had no desire to hear the truth? So really, while your argument points may have been, salient? You lost time you could never get back. You know how many times we walk into a movie theater or we engage in a conversation and it's like, I will never be able to get that time back. And many of us keep going back into those conversations knowing that we're not going to be able to redeem the time. Yeah, Tim, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, Mr. Tim. Let's see if that's going to come up across the screen. It doesn't. Because they don't want your comment to come across the timeline. Yeah, they don't want your comment to come across a timeline. Holy moly guacamole. So what does Tim say? He says a lot of those trolls are fusion center hacks paid by the usurpers. Yes, most definitely. Jamie says that she doesn't engage. She says I watch a lot of HGTV. See, HGTV will get you in trouble. HGTV will get you in trouble. You left. I can't share that one. You're too silly. But again, fighting with people on social media to show who is the more witty individual, don't engage. Like I said, they will take you down, bring you down to their level, and beat you up with experience. It's not worth it. And what trophy do you get at the end of the day of basically trolling a troll? honestly, I would say that there's something wrong with our lives if we have that much energy to put into trolling trolls who troll trolls. It's just, when do we stop? There is this insidious nature within us that we have to do this. And honestly, what purpose does it serve? But here is a common theme that I get when I engage people on social media. And this is the biggest flag for me that you're a troll. And honestly, engaging in it's the clear thing that says to me, I no longer have a reason to engage with you. So I have 2 profiles on social media. Well, on Facebook specifically. One is my private profile that I share with my wife, and that close friends and family, we share stuff and everything like that. And then there's my public account, my persona account. So for Battle4Freedom and all things that, I do business-wise, it's on that account. And so one of the different things that I run into, hey, Brandon, thanks for being part of the program. One of the things that I get a lot when I comment on something with my private account by trolls is because my private account has my name and my wife's name on the account. And the common thing that I get from trolls and people who they have nothing intellectual to contribute to the conversation is, I can't trust it. Oh, yeah, let me get this. Let me get this one here right. They says, I can't take adults who share a Facebook account seriously. And I was like, what? Yeah. They're like, who cheated? Oh, you have a shared account? Oh, I can't take you seriously. Who cheated? There must be dishonesty going on in the relationship that you actually have to have a shared account. What about the idea that there are many marriages that fall apart because of the fact that spouses hide their profiles on social media so that no one knows, that the spouse doesn't know the communications that they've had? This morning, I got a message from someone who I thought was a friend down in Shelbyville that they beautifully cloned another person's account. I said, hey, beautiful lady. And I was like, I don't know who you are. But they changed the profile. They changed the profile from the black, sweet black lady that I know down in Shelbyville to a white guy down in Kentucky. And was trying to reach out to my wife via social media. See, this is the reason why there's so many people. You've got to verify, if you have the phone number of the people that you talk to, verify that you get their proper URL from them. Have them text it to you, email it to you, so you know that you are legitimately talking to the person that you have a friendship and a relationship with. But here it is. They cloned a friend's account, and then their new account showed up, and they're trying to reach out to my wife. You see, there are people who literally have nothing better to do with their time. And anyone who does that calls himself a Christian and sits there and poses as other people because they're determined on ruining your lives, these are demoniacs. These are demon-possessed people who have nothing better to do. When you start saying, oh, who cheated? I can't take you seriously with a shared account. You're demon-possessed. You are demon-possessed. There is just no other way, because you are petulant. You are childish. You have nothing positive to offer to society except depravity. So why in the world am I going to sit here and engage with you? Because of the fact that you literally, all you want to do is suck out my time and see if I'm going to be dumb enough to argue with you. I'm like, thank you so much for helping me understand where you stand off right in the beginning. But I'm telling you, I really encourage you. Please verify the accounts of the people that you deal with on social media. Because some of them, and the worst part about it is that the person that they posed as, I have 15 other mutual friends who have an account, shared account, who are friends with this loser who try to reach out to me. So when you say to me, what did you do? Who was unfaithful? What? That's just childishness. That literally is childishness. And that's the worst part about it is that people, they get joys, they get their jollies off of saying stupid stuff like that. And I was like, okay, if that's what floats your boat, so be it. I'm going to move on to people who want to actually have a discussion. And if I engage with them after them saying that I have to defend myself, no, I didn't cheat, and blah, 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 blah. I'm a fool if I engage with them. We're fools if we engage with people who clearly come out of the box trying to insult us. And it's just not worth it. Just leave it alone. Walk away. Continue to argue with them. Yes, Lappy says no. Who's on first? Yes. Oh my goodness, a classic. And honestly, while they were talking about first base, we always try and say who's first, who's on first. I'm first. I'm the better person because I outwitted you on social media. It's a waste of time. Trust me, you can't redeem that time if you engage with them. But some of the other different things that they were saying was like, so this one person said, trying to create a life for yourself and earn a living wage isn't something you should be accountable for, because this is basically what I'm saying is the idea of, with the student loans, that this should not be our responsibility. And if people make a horrible decision that they're going to go off and pay and take out loans on school education, that's on them. That shouldn't be that's their burden, but it should not be the burden of other people, because what they do is they've taken another passage out of context. They look at Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, where it says, bear one another's burdens. Let's see if I could actually find that passage so that we can, let's see if we could find that passage so that we get this straight. Because this is one of the key verses that they use to try and justify. They try and justify taking out us bailing other people out because of their student loans. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 through 4, because everything context without pretext is bad text, or I can't remember what it is, but it's just it's the idea of trying to use the scriptures without the proper context brings out a lot of disservice and a lot of assumptions on the word of God. Because here it is where they're trying to say, well, Galatians 6:1 says that you should bear one another's burdens, and that's the reason why we should sit here. And you as a Christian shouldn't be against the idea of covering someone else's sin. I'm not covering their debt. Galatians 6 is right. They said it's right in your effing Bible. That's what they said to me. Read your darn Bible and read your effing Bible. It's right there in the Bible that says a Christian should help one another. I was like, that bear one another burden is not what you think it is. It's not what you think this is. If you read this passage as justifying the government paying the debts of people, I'm letting you know you're reading the Bible wrong. If you're using this passage, if you're trying to use the Christian faith to justify government paying loans or paying or spending or covering the bills of people, you're reading the Bible wrong. It's time for some remediation because you are biblically illiterate. There's just no other way to define this thing. You are biblically illiterate. I don't care how many years of Christianity that you have, reading this into the Bible, what you're doing is this idea of, well, we have to cover everybody's debts financially because Jesus said we just love our neighbor and we take care of them and provide for them. No, that's not Christianity. That's communism. That's communism, where you have allowed Marxism and communism to insipidly infect the church and destroy good biblical sound doctrine, and you brought in that communism into the church. That's not Bible. That is communism pure and through. It is not Christianity. And again, if you really believe that this is Christianity, I'm saying that you need some massive remediation on what's going on. And I pity you if you really think that you are Christianing, you're pushing this communism. That's not Christianity. It's not Christianity. But this person says to me, trying to create a life for yourself and earn a living wage isn't something you should be accountable. She says, isn't something you should be accountable for, quote unquote. We have to find ways to level the playing field. Lower and middle class need more opportunities. And the persecution complex is super tired. You're always getting the terms Republican and Christian mixed up. You're surely intended to use Republican in your sentence because Christians are literally called to take up the cross, service, sacrifice, and suffering, and exemplify Jesus. We look at the giant hypocrites when we balk at helping those in needs, remain silent in the face of suffering, or have mine mindset. This is not Jesus, period. That was a lot of delusion. Because, oh yeah, have I in the past mixed up the terms Republican and Christian? Most definitely. But this whole idea of basically saying that we're supposed to take up our cross, service, sacrifice, and suffering. No. Service, sacrifice, and suffering does not equate as picking up someone else's debt. Again, if you are reading the idea that because Jesus died on the cross for our sins to save humanity, one individual who died for all of humanity, one time, one payment, Jesus' death on the cross was one singular transactional moment. He is not forever being transactioned in heaven to cover for the sins of people who have died. When he said in John 19:30 to tell a story, it is finished. He said, I am the final transaction that mitigates all and fixes all solutions of issues of sin, past, present, and future. We don't repeat this process in the beginning, even though through Catholicism and the Eucharist, there's the daily or weekly or monthly sacrifice of Christ via the Eucharist. No, paid once. That's it. Whereas this thing, Democrats, as I said earlier, and I said yesterday, they said the moment that you turn around, and thank you, Tim, for mentioning that, turning around. Oh, yeah. I need to put that one up, Tim, what you just said there. I'm going to move this one here, and I need Tim's comment here. Turning around and putting this burden on other people, you're doing this wrong. I like this, what Tim said. Forced to pay someone else's debt. Huge, completely different. Completely different than, because it's apples and oranges. Christians. Jesus voluntarily gave up his life. He wasn't forced to die. Jesus could have Thanos snapped himself out of the situation and never been crucified. And even as Satan taunted him to use his power to shut down everybody, because even then in his futility of mind, Satan didn't recognize the significance of the moment of Christ, blameless, dying on the cross to save humanity. Jesus had to die, and he willingly died because he understood that if I don't do it this way, they'll never have a chance to be restored back to God. Whereas when you sit here and what's taking place with this process of loan forgiveness from the government, it's forced. The rest of us tax-paying individuals are covering the cost of at least $2,000 a piece to cover for student loans that we didn't take out. I paid back. Other people in the timeline said that they paid back their student loans. So why should it be the burden of the rest of us, of everyone else who wants to go off and live their own lives and not be responsible for the decisions that they made? But to sit here and say that this is, and this is the crazy part about it, is as they sit here and say we shouldn't be accountable for our actions, we have to find ways of leveling the playing field. No, we don't. Because there's this fixation on making life fair for everyone. No, I'm sorry, baby. Life ain't fair. Life is not fair. And the moment that you start jockeying and changing the playing field to make life easier for people, that removes the standard of them, the requirement of them working hard to achieve and earn what it is that they are seeking. This is a further extension of affirmative action that has hurt blacks, it has hurt minorities, it has hurt women. Because when they brought in affirmative action, what did they do? They lowered the standards of what was required to come into the door, into the business. And here it is. We're lowering the playing fields of what are the requirements for people to get houses, to get jobs, to get everything. Society crumbles when you lower the standards and you don't set high expectations of what's going on. And we've lowered the standards of what we expect in our political candidates. We've lowered the standards of who we want teaching our kids. We've lowered the standards of the people who represent us in our lives. And then we sit there and wonder why society is in such a decay, because we continually drop the standards. And you sit here and you do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. I said to him, so we don't have to hold people accountable? We don't have to hold people accountable for the debt that they incur? Everybody just take out a debt. Everybody take out a debt. Who covers it? The people who are paying the bills. This is not Bible. This is not Bible. This is not, one person said to me, and as Christians, we are asked to live and follow Christ's example. I hope that one day you lay it on your heart to understand that. Read your effing Bible, Galatians 6:2. Here it is. Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Here is this passage. It is not to deal with paying other people's debts. What is it? Matthew chapter 25. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I needed shelter, you provided that. When I needed clothing, you provided that stuff. Those are immediate needs. We should definitely do the best we can to help one another out. But if you're perpetually living in sin and rebellion against God, if you continually break the law, if you continually make bad decisions, all we're doing is enabling you. And the Bible says, do not help people who are in rebellion. He says, hand them over to Satan. Read Matthew chapter 18 on the issues of church discipline. First, you have a relationship with a person, try and correct them in their behavior. Then you bring someone else involved to try and fix the situation. Then you get elders involved to try and see if you can fix the situation. And at that point, if they don't want to listen to wise counsel, leave them alone, back off. They're no longer your responsibility. But what happens is, because the communism that is insipidly worked its way into the church, people have believed that I have to keep trying to rescue them, and I have to rescue them from themselves. That in and of itself is of Satan, because only one person has redeemed society from themselves, and that is Christ. Follow me as I follow Christ is a life of sacrifice and service, but it's not enablement. Because if Christ was about enablement, he would have sat there and enabled the Pharisees to carry on in their behavior. Why in the world would Jesus Christ turn around? If he's about enabling, if Christianity is about enablement, why in the world would Jesus or John ever sit and say anything against the Pharisees? Why would he even ever say anything against Satan? Why would he say, get behind me, Satan? Why would he ever say, depart from me, Satan? Why would he ever say anything to Satan if he was about empowering and helping people move forward? And then you get this comment on here. Every atheist I know is well educated in the Bible. That's why we're atheists. Hence, I pity the fool. Because the fool in his heart has said there is no God. A lot of people say some of the best atheists are former Christians. I dare say they never were Christians in the first place. If with all the surmounting evidence that you walk away after being a Christian, after following Jesus, and you say that you want to deny the existence of God, there is no conversation to have here. With the preponderance of evidence of the reality of who God is, and you choose to basically believe in nothing, to believe that spontaneous farts brought about life, the fact that you believe in an inherited sin tells me you both need help and or meds. This is what was said to me to try and hurt my feelings. Well, that passage doesn't say feed them, and you're pretty quick to claim that what it says. Just admit that you're selfish and don't care about others. At least you wouldn't be a hypocrite. By the way, I live in a wealthy blue state, and as a high-income family, a huge chunk of our income goes to poor red states like yours. Are you ready to pay me back? I don't engage in people like this. I don't engage. Why? Because it's clear you're biased and you don't want to hear the truth. The reason why I say this, and the reason why Mr. T is on here, because the goal is don't engage in stupid. Because if you do, you're a fool. Don't argue with a fool, because they will bring you down to their level and beat you up with experience. It is pointless to sit here and engage in people, Christians, self-proclaimed Christians, who sit there and try and push this socialism that's not in the Bible. I'm saying it again, I'll say it through. Student loan forgiveness can never equate to the forgiveness achieved by the blood of Christ. It's just not Bible. Prove me wrong. You won't be able to. Got to keep it real, folks. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo's up next. And I'm really praying that we wake up from this slumber of ignorance and death, killing society and choking out all life.